Welcome, everyone. Excuse my tardiness. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for taking the time to join and listen into today's webinar. I'm really excited about today's topic, where we're going to be talking about the upside of short sale real estate investing in your retirement account. It is, a little past the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get right to it and get started. I'm Reneika, Lightbourne with Advanta IRA, and I'm super excited to be joined by the one and only Mr. David Randolph. He's a national expert when it comes to short sales. So thank you so much, David, for being our speaker today.
Thank you.
So David's going to share, some of the advantages of actually short sale investing, what it is, exactly where to find short sale opportunities, and then, of course, how to negotiate with banks and homeowners. But before I turn it over, I just want to give you a general overview of what self-direction is and how it works. And then, of course, if you do have questions, just feel free to type those in the question box. We'll allocate some time at the very end to get those answered for you. So again, my name is Reneika Lightbourne. I'm a business development specialist here at Advanta. I've been with Advanta as an employee since 2019. But I'm also an Advanta client prior to joining staff. So self-direction is something that I actively do. If you have any specific questions or you want to talk through your scenario, don't hesitate to give me a call, send me an email, or visit advantaira.com to schedule that consultation. Just a little housekeeping. At Advanta, we don't give any tax, legal, or investment advice. All of the information that's going to be presented today is just more so for educational purposes. As always, we encourage you to do your due diligence, confer with your professional team, whether that's your attorney, your CPA, or financial advisor, before you make any investments. So some quick takeaways about self-direction. This is a new concept for you. Just know that any IRA or former employer plan qualifies to be self-directed. You choose the investment that works best for you. In this case, we're going to be talking about short sales. And then, of course, just know that any income that's generated from those investments flows back into the retirement account. If there's any related expenses, it's paid by the retirement account itself. So just a little history about Advanta and who we are. We've been in business for 20 plus years now as the leading self-directed IRA administrator in the business. While we don't give any tax, legal, or investment advice, our team is comprised of attorneys and also certified IRA service professionals. That's a huge designation when it comes to our profession. And of course, Advanta, our headquarters is in the Largo, Florida area, Tampa Bay. And then, of course, we have an office here, which is where I'm based. So Advanta, our headquarters is in Largo, Florida. We have an office here in Atlanta, which is where I'm based. And of course, we do work with clients nationwide, as we have a little over $2 billion under administration. One of the key factors that kind of helps differentiate Advanta from other self-directed custodians is we provide you that concierge style service. So where you do have a dedicated account manager that's going to be with you for the life of your account with us, but also too, we provide you great educational content where we have practitioners and experts such as Mr. Randolph come in and knowledge share with you. So this webinar is recorded. It's going to be uploaded on a YouTube channel, typically within 24 to 48 business hours. But also you can visit our website, check out our video library. I would encourage you to also check out our blogs that has anything and everything related to the latest industry trends about self-direction. So exactly what is a self-directed IRA? Just very simply, it just means that you as the account owner, you're going to have complete control over the retirement funds. You have complete control over what is it that you want to invest in. So if short sale is your preferred strategy, you can absolutely do that. And then, of course, it gives you the ability to really diversify and grow and build retirement wealth. In addition to investing in in short sales, you can also invest in tax liens. You can invest in, fix and flip projects. You can do private equities, precious metals. The list goes on in terms of what's on the table for you. So why do people choose to self-direct? There are many different reasons. I'm just going to touch on 3 of them. 1, it can be a new source of capital for you. So instead of taking out a personal loan or tapping into your rainy day fund, you can actually, if you have funds sitting in an existing IRA or just sitting idle in an old employer plan, you can elect to move those funds over to make that next investment. 2, the volatility in the stock market. Something overseas can be impacting the stock market here. So we know with a lot of self-directed investors, they like to invest in the likes of real estate and do short sales because it's a tangible asset. It's always going to retain some value. And then, of course, the tax benefits, having those profits, those dividends flow back into your retirement account, tax-free or tax-deferred, depending on the type of account that you have. In terms of the types of accounts that can be self-directed, it's the ones that you're already familiar with. For individuals, you have traditional IRAs, which is tax deferred, meaning you get a tax break up front, and then you pay taxes at retirement, 59.5 or later. So with the Roth IRA, you elect to pay the taxes now, as long as you hold that account for at least 5 years and you've reached retirement age of 59.5, your distributions are tax-free. If you are self-employed, have a small business or a side business, you can self-direct some employer-sponsored plans like SEPs, Simples, and solo 401ks. A lot of real estate investors like the advantages that comes with solo 401k, has greater flexibility. So if that's something that you want to learn more about, again, feel free to reach out to me. Some lesser known accounts, but still very important or essential, are ESAs for educational related expenses. And then of course, for the cost of healthcare is rising, you can certainly, if you're eligible, self-direct your HSA account as long as you have a high deductible plan. And then again, any former employer plan, whether it's an old 401k, 403b, or TSP type plan, can be self-directed. Some contribution limits for 2023 for traditional and Roth IRAs. If you're under the age of 50, as long as you've earned income, you can contribute $6,500. If you're over the age of 50, you have an additional $1,000 to where you can catch up to where you can put in $7,500. For solo 401k, you get to contribute twice, essentially once as an employee, and then of course the employer match to where you can contribute up to $66,000 if you're under the age of 50. For ESA's account, you can put in $2,000 per year per child. So whether it's your child or your niece or nephew or grandkids, you can certainly do so. And then of course with an HSA, again, is contingent on you having a high deductible plan. So do confer with your plan provider on that. But for individuals, you can put in $38.50. For family, you can put in $7,750. But if you're over the age of 55 for an HSA, you can add an additional $1,000 to catch up. The process with us at Advanta is pretty streamlined to where you can, get your account open and funded and start investing in 3 simple steps. Step 1 will be filling out the paperwork. You can do that electronically. You can visit our website. You'll have somebody to walk you through if you have questions relating to the paperwork. Step 2 is funding your account. There's a couple ways you can fund it. You can make an annual cash contribution as long as you've earned income. You can transfer as much as or as little as you need to make your investment via having an existing IRA. Or again, if you have an old employer plan like an old 401k, you can elect to move those funds over to self-direct. And then finally, step 3 is what is it that you have an interest in? If it's something you hear today about short sales that pique your interest, you can absolutely use your retirement account to do so. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to David. David, let me make you the presenter.
My name is David Randolph. Since my picture isn't there, I could be picking my nose and you won't know it. So maybe this is better, but I don't usually pick my nose. I'm really excited to come back again to the Advanta, lunchtime, webinar series. And so I was here a year ago and presented on short sales, and so I'm kind of excited to come back and do a little bit of an update to that. Some of the slides are the same, which I would hope so, because short sales are still the same process. So I want to show you is going to be the same type of process on short sales and how you can use it in your IRA and use it in real estate for single family houses. So anyway, let me go ahead and get started. This is kind of my contact information. And I'm one of those engineer types. I always hated it when I watch presentations and they went through all these nice, beautiful slides, but you didn't have access to them. So I always give my slides away to anybody when I do a presentation. So if you text the word Advanta to my phone number, I will send you these PDF of all these slides you're about to see. So don't be trying to say, hey, can I get the slides, I always make my slides available to people. So you can take some notes, write down the highlights, but don't try to write down everything you see on the slide. Don't be trying to take a bunch of pictures on your iPhone that end up 50 pictures and you forget what they are 6 months later. I will send you a PDF of all these slides that I'm going to go through. Just text Advanta to 636-685-2990 and stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's do a little bit of an update, a little bit of a market update on short sales and where we're at. Before we had the pandemic that had come along, and so that was part of the CARES Act system, and that was in March of 2020. Well, that actually ended, in July of 21. About after 18 months, and immediately foreclosures increased 27% the very month right after that. So the banks were kind of held back and they couldn't do anything for 18 months due to the CARES Act. and stuff. Now today in May, and so our data is always a little bit behind on mortgage data because you have to go through the full month then just to be able to report the data later, which then they have to get a full month in, and so I want to usually wait a month. So May is the latest data we have, even though this is early July. May is like the latest data that we have, especially on an aggregated basis across the country. And so basically the number of what I call delinquent loans, you can call them COVID related, it's kind of all COVID related, right? The inflation because of COVID. So even though the moratorium ended in 21, you still have the effects of that in the economy causing people to miss their payments. So the total right now, as of May, is 1.868 million. Okay, in May, 1.68 million delinquent loans. Okay, and there's the I leave the article reference at the top. Once again, you can get these slides, and that's the article reference. You don't see this one anywhere else published. Okay, FHA delinquency rate. Okay, now this is back for February. Okay, is 10.1%. Holy smoke, that's catastrophic. All the FHA loans in America, we have a delinquency rate of 10%. Okay, and they've been above 10% for the last 4 months. Okay, and that's crazy numbers, right? I mean, think about that. FHA is a major lender, government entity for a lot of people getting loans in our country, and we have a 10% delinquency rate. You don't hear that. Hey, delinquency doesn't mean a whole lot, if people are able to make that payment later. Okay, well, you can't make your payment later if you have no job. So we have 1.1 million people that have permanently lost their job. Okay, so this is the labor department for the government, and that's their number that just came out for June, just released a couple of days ago, week ago. So we got 1.1 million permanent job losses. Okay, now I'm going to kind of well, first of all, I just want to say I'm going to fly through these slides. I got like a 2-hour presentation I'm trying to cram into 45 minutes. Okay, so I will be flying through these slides and everything. And if you have questions, sure that there's a chat box for you to throw them in, and then Reneika will present them to me when I get through the slides. So throw all your questions into the chat box there, and then we'll cover them at the end because I want to fly through these slides. So let me ask you, what is your definition of a short sale? Okay, I mean, think about it. You're a real estate investor. We're in the real estate industry. We're talking about single family homes, not multifamily, though we could talk about that on another conference, another Zoom, but right now we're talking about single family houses. What is your definition of a short sale? Okay, well, the typical answer that you hear is the homeowner can't sell the house for what they owe, what is owed on it. In other words, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, the mortgage is too much and they can't sell the house. They owe more than what it's worth, right? There's some of your typical answers of what the definition of a short sale is. Okay, well, let me tell you what, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay, I put those big red X's on there myself, actually, and stuff. I was very proud of that technological challenge here. It's wrong. That is not what it is. Okay, a short sale is when you miss one house payment. I'm going to repeat that probably twice. A short sale is when the homeowner misses one house payment. That's it. That is a short sale. You can't do a short sale with the bank if the homeowner is currently making payments. Okay, they don't have to be underwater. They don't have to have any other conditions that is specific to them. It's first and foremost, they have to miss one house payment. Okay, now why is that important? Well, why isn't it that the home's not worth what the loan is? Well, here's why. Okay, Black Knight did a study over the past 30 years of foreclosures across the country, and borrowers, homeowners that had 40% equity, okay, in their house, okay, they could snap their fingers and sell that house on the MLS instantly with that kind of equity. 30% of those lost their home to foreclosure. Okay, they lost the house. It's not about the value of the home. Okay, it's about the condition of the homeowner. I mean, think about this. When you go to buy a house, like Pete says, why would you sell such a nice house as this? It's always about the homeowner and where they're at in life and their position. okay? And so they could have sold their house on MLS, but they did not. One third of them, you weren't there to help them. They went to foreclosure, and a lot of bad things happened, and we'll talk about that later and stuff. So keep that in mind when you say, well, you know, what is a short sale, or there are no short sales? There's a lot of short sales out there, and people don't realize that, okay? Now, just go back to the traditional definition, okay, of you know, the, you know, well, they're more than what it's worth. Well, 30% of the home buyers put down less than 10% on the when they bought their home in 2022. Okay, so I mean, you know, you got 6% commission just to sell your house. Okay, so you know, you're instantly underwater almost anytime you buy a house, unless you have a Fannie Mae 20% down loan. Okay, and stuff. And so the December data, okay, that we had from last year was showing the early payment defaults for last year was running 150% above the long-term average, 150% above on early payment defaults. Okay, so that's that inflation component that's kicked in. When, you know, when gas prices and food prices go up, you stop making your house payment. Okay, and so anyway, you know, there's a lot of, you know, almost nearly 2 million delinquent loans out there that basically are going to have something resolved, a short sale, foreclosure, or some other method with it. And so wouldn't you like to know the exact schedule of when they're going to be foreclosed? Well, guess what? We have that. Okay, we know that. That came from the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They outlined you know, tiered levels. And so we know exactly what groups they're foreclosing on and when. And stuff. What do you struggle with? Okay, so here, why are you on this presentation? What is it in real estate that you're struggling with? Okay, you want to be a real estate investor. This upside to short sales, you know, sometimes we call it massive profits with short sales. You know, we got a lot of different, you know, terms for short sales in real estate, but, you know, why are you wanting to know about short sales? What are you struggling with in your, you know, as a real estate investor, okay, and stuff. Now, you could be like Carl, okay? Probably what you're struggling with is the same thing that he was. Carl was so sick and tired of trying to buy houses from the wholesaler, okay, who was too greedy, too dumb, you know, to have the right price. He would buy a house, fix it up, and make 10 or 15,000 rehabbing it, and then look on public records and see that the wholesaler made 30 grand on the house, and he was, you know, very upset because he did all that work. So, you know, a lot of people in real estate are struggling with being able to find houses to buy, find houses they can buy cheap enough to make a profit. Okay, you know, here's one that Carl did that he, you know, short sale that he did, made $145,000. I show you that because if I show you mine, which I will show you my case studies, it's fine, David, you can do that. Well, Carl has done this with short sales using the short sale method, and more particularly my short sale method. This is a result that Carl had, whereas before he was only making about $15,000 because he was buying them off the MLS or from wholesalers, or doing direct mail and stuff. And so anyway, we have to do these. This is not as fancy as Mr. Jeff Watson. I should probably borrow his disclaimer, but basically I need to tell you that I'm not an attorney, an accountant, or not even a real estate agent, guys. I don't play, you know, on TV. I'm not an actor. None of this presentation is written or verbal. You know, written or verbal is any kind of tax or legal advice. This is just my interpretation, my experience of short sales over the past 13 years. I'm a regular guy, okay? But I've learned from the best, both local and national experts. I like to do a lot of research. Full-time entrepreneur with income streams, chemical engineer, retired from my job in 2006 at the age of 42. I'm a small guy. I'm not part of a syndicator. I don't work for somebody else. Okay, I'm a regular guy, wanted to be a real estate investor. So I have an LLC. I rehab 5 to 10 houses a year. One of my claims to fame is that all my renovated houses have sold in 7 days or less at list price or higher for 13 years. All my renovated houses here in St. Louis, Missouri, listed under $260,000. So I'm a rehabber. But what's different is my typical profit's 90 grand. You know, I make $50,000 to $150,000 profit on just $250,000 houses. Okay, I can wholesale them for 80 grand. If I rehab, then I make that upper end 150. with it and stuff. That's through the power of short sales. You know, look, man, IRAs, retirement accounts, they're so important in your real estate journey. Okay, so when you start making the kind of money like I've made, you end up with a lot of money. And did I want to have rentals? Yes, but instead I would sell a house for 100,000 profit and not rent it, and that was a mistake because of long-term wealth. But as a result, I have over $3 million in cash in my retirement accounts. Okay, like with Advanta. And I would really encourage you guys to look at their individual K program, the self-directed 401k. Really is a powerful plan that they've got. And so basically, you know, I've utilized that as a hard money lender. Okay, so I've been doing hard money lending. I'm a little bit unique. I'll lend you all the money. Okay, and we're out of time, so I'm not gonna go through, you know, you're getting my background, you know that I'm a hard money lender, but my heart is to help new rehabbers get started, okay, and stuff. And then 2018 started providing one-on-one real estate coaching, and then I did a presentation on short sales in 2019 that launched my whole short sale training programs and career, if you will, and stuff. Actually, I'm cutting my rehabs down to 5 this year because I love teaching short sales. So I developed some workshops from that. I'm the founder of Short Sale Profits, founder of the David Randolph. Now let's get into short sales, guys. You know, that's what you're here to learn about is what is a short sale. So let's run through this stuff real quick here. You know my background. You know I'm a regular guy. I'm out here doing deals all the time. Don't work for some big company. You know, this is me, an individual like you, who can be very successful in real estate and fund all this into your retirement accounts, guys. You gotta, you know, you don't want to be paying taxes on this money. Oh my gosh, you know, I mean, think about it. You know, you make a couple 100,000 and then boom, now you're up in that 20% tax bracket and then going to the sky. Incorporate the IRA system into your LLC real estate investing. And I don't have time to talk about how that's done, but I'll just say real quickly how that works. I mean, I've made a lot of money in real estate. Well, the $3 million I have in my IRA is what my wife didn't see. It's what, you know, when she got done spending money for the year, I would do deals in my IRA. And so that's how I got that money in there. When she wasn't looking, I would do a deal in there. And so that's basically what you really need to incorporate into the business. Now, the short sale method, we're going to run through it real quick. What is it? Okay, so we're going to go into this detailed level. Remember, you miss one house payment. But in this particular case, what are the specifics of it? A lot of people misunderstand. They say you owe more than what it's worth. Well, but you have to include the other loans like home equity lines, judgments, tax liens, credit cards, you know, and things like that. So it's not just the loan from the lender, and that's people make that mistake. They don't look at the rest of the encumbrances on the property itself. And so that will also cause it to be, quote, underwater, to be a traditional short sale as you may think of it, and owing more than what it's worth. Also keep in mind this fact that you only get 85 to 90% of the list price. So a lot of people think, well, my homes are selling for 400 grand. Well, you don't actually get that when you sell it and stuff. The other thing that you need to understand about what is a short sale is, you know, usually there's a pending foreclosure date. Okay, and they may only have 30 to 60 days to sell that house. Okay, now every state's different. Texas is 21, Georgia's 30 days, Florida's judicial, and it's a little bit longer there. You know, it can be 90 days, but it can be stretched out over many years and stuff like that. But you know, typically there's also deferred maintenance and repairs needed, and you know, the buyer, you know, can't afford to do that. The seller can't afford to do it either. Okay, so a lot of times these homes have some, you know, poor condition, you know, to them. Now I want to just pause for a moment here because some people, you know, think, well, you have different states that are judicial and non-judicial, and a non-judicial state means they just post the legal description for 21 days or 30 days, and the home belongs to the bank. Sorry, repeat that. In a judicial state, you have to use a judge. In a non-judicial state, you don't use a judge. In a non-judicial state, you just post the legal description for 21 days straight or 30 days straight, and the home goes to the bank. In a judicial state, you have to go, the bank has to go to a judge, file a motion, give them time to respond, file another motion, then a counter motion from the homeowner, and so it can drag out. Okay, drag out for years in Florida. But the point to this is at the end of both the processes, okay, they still end up with the legal description being posted publicly. So in both cases, it's the same. So therefore, the only effect of a judicial, non-judicial is the length of marketing that you do. The actual paperwork and the process of negotiating a short sale is identical across the United States. Okay, the judicial part of it only affects the time of your letters that you mail to the homeowner. In Florida, you can spread them out over weeks. In Missouri, we have to spread them out over a couple days because it's a 21-day state. So I just want to throw that caveat in there that these are federally based, the short sale process. What is a short sale? Continue on with it. You know, some key points here. Now remember, you can text Advanta to my phone number to get these slides because I got to fly through them because I got a 2-hour presentation of 45 minutes here. And so I kind of have to cut stuff out with it and stuff, and I have cut stuff out. And so basically, you know, the buyer can't get a traditional loan, okay? And the reason is it takes too long. You know, if you're in a non-judicial state and it's 21 days or 30 days, you're not possibly going to list it, find a buyer, they get a loan, you come to closing, okay? So basically, you know, it has to be an as-is cash offer, okay? So the lender wants the home to be as is because there's no money to be spending fixing the house up because the lender wants the loan paid back. So you turn your offer in cash as is. Don't come in with a traditional loan. You'll fail the short sale every time. What is a short sale? Well, the lender has to approve the buyer, okay? And the buyer can't change. Does that mean you can't wholesale a short sale? No, it doesn't. Okay, you can double close them. That's still a wholesale. You double close anyway when you make too much profit on a wholesale. But the buyer is approved by the bank and it can't be related to the seller. All parties must be unrelated unless it's disclosed. But let me tell you something. I teach people how to be the negotiator and the buyer. There's many ways to do it, okay? But I want to just make this statement about, you know, if you're the negotiator and you're the buyer on the house, what if the bank finds out? Well, guess what? They cut your commission to zero for the realtor. Cut it to zero, the commission for the realtor. Whoop-de-doo, okay? No big deal, okay? Cover your realtor on another case. The realtor's working for you anyway, okay? You're not doing these short sales on the MLS. They are not on the MLS. You found it. You have the realtor on your team. Worst case is they cut the commission to zero. Now, there's some things you need to have in. There's a lot of reasons people don't like short sales because they failed because, you know, you don't know how to do the paperwork. And one of the big things that they fail for is that you have to have in your documents the ability for the homeowner, for the seller to cancel this listing agreement without any payment of commission. And that's a clause. There's more words to that, but that's a clause you have to have in there. Otherwise, the bank rejects it. And then you could go to foreclosure. Something interesting here is on non-FHA loans. So let's just use the generic one of Fannie Mae. So on a Fannie Mae loan, understand that there's a deed restriction that can be put on those, which means you can't sell a house for any price for 30 days. Okay, and then within 90 days, you can't sell it for more than 20%. So if you bought a house for $100,000, you can't sell it for $121,000 until day 91. Okay. And that's called a deed restriction, and that takes place on Fannie Mae loans. So I just want to make you aware of what a short sale is, you know, in regard to that. So what is this package? What do we do to, you know, negotiate with the bank? What do we have to turn in? What are some of the documents, okay, and stuff? And so I break it into 3 categories on here. The first category is what's called the RMA, the Request for Mortgage Assistance. That's a bank document, okay? Don't ask me for it because it's individual to the bank. Now, are they nearly identical from bank to bank? Yes, they are. And it's basically a 5 or 6 page document that just lets them say, I want to do a short sale. Now, with it, you have to attach, you know, bank statements, hardship letter, pay stubs, you know, and some things like that. The second packet is what I call the realtor docs, okay? The realtor docs. And so you've got your listing agreement, your special sale contract, your short sale rider, your buyer proof of funds, and your operating agreement, and a HUD, not a HUD from the title company. Okay, your HUD. So these are the realtor docs. Now, you may have many other documents like a lead paint and a seller's disclosure. Well, we don't do the seller's disclosure on a short sale. These are the realtor documents that go to the bank. Then there's this other package, contractor estimate, comps, letter of explanation. So it's 3 groupings, 3 sets of documents that you end up, giving to the bank to be able to process or negotiate a short sale with the bank. Okay, now keep in mind that the bank is negotiating the sale price of the house. Okay, but they're actually looking at the net to the bank. Okay. And stuff, and they'll negotiate with either the listing agent or with the listing agent's short sale processor. Well, that's you, okay, or someone that you designate, okay, type thing. And so, in essence, what happens is, the lender is going to work with who the listing agent is. They're not working with a realtor who's the buyer, because when you're doing a short sale, your listing agent is your buying agent. It's one person, but the point here is that all parties have to be unrelated on paper, and I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. That would be a whole nother presentation. You got your name, comma, manager, your name, comma, president, your name, comma, personally. You are who you are when you sign your name. So on paper, you have to be unrelated. Okay. Now, in all cases, the lenders want a broker price opinion, or in the case of FHA, a full appraisal. So the bank is going to come out and they're going to do an appraisal on the house. You must be there. I've lost like 4 short sales over 13 years, and they were because I wasn't there when the bank did their appraisal. The homeowner let the appraiser just show up and come in the house, and they walked into the kitchen and they walked back out, and they took the average of 10 sold homes and said that's what that home was worth. And so it was a very poor valuation of it. So you must be at the house with the bank's appraiser. Very key. That's where they're going to determine the price. Like, they're a 600-pound gorilla. Okay, they're going to determine what they want for the house. Okay, so anyway, the result of all of this, okay, is an approval letter. So when you get all the way to the end, you get an approval letter that basically gives you about 30 to 45 days to close. Now, to get all the way to the end here, it takes about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. It can take longer if you want to drag it out, which I've done sometimes, because the family had a kid in high school and they wanted to graduate, so I dragged it out and stuff. But it basically can take 3 to 6 months, for this process to go through, to get this, approval letter, from the bank. Okay. Now, why do we do them? Okay. Well, what's the reason for doing them? What is the homeowner doing them? Why are you doing them? Why are all the parties involved? Let's run through that real quick, because this is important. If you're going to start doing short sales, you need to know why. Okay. You need to know what to tell the seller. Okay. And so here, this is what's important, is that if you don't do a short sale, it's going to get foreclosed on. Okay. If the bank isn't paid back in full, okay, they're going to foreclose on it. Okay, so if you don't step in and do something, now are there other options like loan modification? Are there options like catching the loan up and being current? There's many options in there, but if nothing is done, then the foreclosure, okay, it will take place and stuff. The bank doesn't just say, hey, if you send me $5, then I won't foreclose. No, they want the full payoff until you can prove to them it's not worth that. And here's another good reason on why the borrower, the homeowner, the seller wants to do a short sale, is because if they don't, in most states, are going to have a deficiency. In other words, if this house ends up selling through the bank, for a very small amount, and they owe a large amount, the difference between what they owe and what the bank sells a house for becomes a deficiency. And in most states, except for like Arizona, in most states, the borrower is going to owe that, okay, to the bank. And in Missouri, they can come after you for 7 years to get that money back, and you can't stop them because you gave up your right on the foreclosure date. You have to actually file a bankruptcy to get that wiped out and stuff. Now, versus, that happening, or them getting, say, a $3,000 check at closing from the bank, not you, never pay the homeowner anything. That's fraud. Okay, And so the bank will pay them money. So which one, does the seller want to do? Okay, if they have the credit hit, that's 300 points for 7 years. So there's a lot of reasons why you want to tell the seller that they want to work with you on a short sale. Okay, now can they file bankruptcy? Yeah, they can, but that hurts you for 3 to 5 years, and basically is going to be about 200 points and stuff. And here's another one that the bankruptcy attorneys don't tell them. We file bankruptcy, we can wipe your debt out. You don't need to listen to David. You don't need to do a short sale. I'm a bankruptcy attorney. I'll wipe your debt out for you. Great, Mr. Bankruptcy Attorney. That is absolutely true. You'll wipe that debt out. But what you didn't tell the homeowner is in order to do the bankruptcy, that the bank has to turn around and foreclose to get the house back. Okay, now you've got a bankruptcy and a foreclosure on your record. See, they don't tell the homeowner that. So you don't want to do a bankruptcy unless it's absolutely necessary. You want to do a short sale. Plus an attorney costs money. A short sale, they're never going to pay you. They're not paying you to do the short sale. It doesn't cost them money. Another good reason for why the borrower is going to do it is they're going to have to move out prior to the foreclosure date. They won't legally own the house at that time and date of the foreclosure. They won't own it and stuff. And so if you do the short sale, they would get to stay in the house the entire time. Okay. And then the neat part too is, in reality, the borrower is getting to start over because they can save their money up while the short sale is going on, and they can start over, somewhere else. And that's very good. Why do we do them? We do them for gratification. Okay. Look, they cry at the closing table with relief every time. Hundreds of them. Okay. I don't think I can think of remember a single family or homeowner that didn't cry or wasn't very happy at the closing table when they were able to get rid of that house. Okay. And stuff. And so, and of course I'm crying with them because I'm going to make $150,000. So we're both crying. But basically you're doing this to help the families out. Okay. They're in a bad position. Things are very bad for them financially. And the kids are involved, the whole family, they're losing that home, and you can stop that and help them to be able to start over. We bring up, as a buyer, as a rehabber, we're bringing up the value of houses in the subdivision, okay, by restoring it and fixing it up, right, and we provide a lot of jobs to people, okay, plumbers, electricians, realtors, everybody, and instead of that home sitting there. That's why we do them, okay. Now, of course, this is a play off of the old realtor thing, location, location, location. Well, why do we do them? Here's 3 very big reasons. Massive profits, massive profits, massive profits. Oh, you don't believe me? Okay, well, let's take a look here. And I'm told that people always want to have a case study, right? So I'm going to show you some case studies. I'll probably fly through them because I'm really short on time with this, and I like to show you the full address. Go look it all up on public records, guys. There's your address. Go look it all up on public records. So this is a house. That's the actual house itself. It was a pretty big house, actually. And so I sold it for $370,000. I wholetailed it. That's where you buy it and don't really do anything to it. And so you're selling it to a retail, what I call an owner-occupant buyer, but you didn't do anything to it. So that's the wholesale part. So wholesale plus retail is wholetailed. So basically I sold it for $370,000, and I didn't do anything to it. There was a $500 miscellaneous cost because some outlets in the basement were stolen. And so I didn't want to sell a house with wires hanging out. And I know that's strange. Kids stole outlets in a house that's worth $370. Okay, what would you pay for this house? Well, I can't see the chat box, so I'm not going to ask you, but I paid that much, okay, and made $100,000 profit on that and did no work to it. 100,000. Is that pretty cool? Okay, could you use $100,000 on one house? So many people like Carl struggle with rehabbing to make 10 or 15,000. Find out the wholesaler made 20 or 30. Okay, when you do short sales, these are typical profit numbers for me all the time, and for my students actually too. But $100,000 sounds cool, right? Well, that's not the good part. I'm saving the good part. Okay, can you guys read the slides? Oh my gosh, do you know what our Roth IRA is? Okay, do you know where you can get a Roth IRA at? Okay, tax-free forever. That was done in my Roth IRA. I did not pay a single penny of taxes on that $100,200 profit. It's tax-free forever. That's like probably making 150 grand in the normal world. So that's really cool. Now, what do we have here? Real quick case study. I won't spend a lot of time on details. If you have questions, throw it in the chat box, and we'll get to them at the end. I can't even see the chat box because I'm doing good just to see the slides here. With it. Good thing the camera's actually probably off for me and stuff like that. But I am a bald-headed guy. Not that that makes any difference. But anyway, this had a first mortgage from a credit union and a second mortgage position from a credit union. Very highly unusual. And so the original loan was $400,000 with a second for $40,000. Okay, and stuff. And so basically, that's that was that. Let's look at another one. Okay, and so this was a house here that was flooded. The subdivision flooded and the basement window broke, and it was not a walkout, so the basement filled up with water. The lady was about 80 years old, really bad situation because she didn't have flood insurance. Well, you don't have flood insurance if you live in a subdivision, right? Okay, but because it was rainwater and there was no egress for the city, didn't have a sewer system that could handle the capacity, her house filled up. So she was in a quandary, couldn't do anything. So what happened with this house? So basically, this is a short sale. I sold it for $205,000. I did a $71,000 rehab on this one. Okay, so this one I did rehab. Okay, so I paid $205. I put 71 in it. So what did I pay for this house? Okay, now it has to be less than 130, right? I sold it for 200 and I put 70 in it. So it has to be less than 130,000. What would you have paid for that house? I paid 33,000 for it. I made $99,000 profit on a $200,000 house. Okay, is that cool? Okay, that's a short sale. Bought a house for $33,900 in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, area. Okay, remember I showed you the address. Go look it up. Okay, does that answer the question why you do short sales? We're on the why do you do them? Look at another one real quick. So a different example, trying to show you just a couple. This home is interesting. This is, how they say lottery winners end up broke within X number of years? I think it's true. This was a lottery winner who did so much stuff to this house with all their money, and then they end up in a short sale. Oh my gosh, millions of dollars from winning a lottery, and they end up being able to make the mortgage. Why wouldn't they have just paid their mortgage payment off, to avoid a foreclosure type thing and stuff? So anyway, the story behind that is that this is a $389,000 sale. That's what I sold it for. I put $80,000 into it. So what did I pay for that one? Okay, now it'd have to be less than $310,000, right? Because 389 minus 80 is 310. And so what would you have paid for that house? Okay, I paid 168, made $141,000 profit on that house. Okay, and I call my vacation bound house because at the time when I got that money wired to my account, and I'm looking on my phone on there going, my gosh, what am I doing this for? Okay, I'm doing this time and time and time again, and stuff. And you start get your IRA set up, and you start funneling your money into the IRAs because you don't want to pay this taxes. Well, the other thing you need to do too is take a vacation. And so we did. We booked a vacation, and 2 days later flew to a resort island that was all you can eat, all you could drink. I had to learn how to drink wine because I don't drink, and it was all you could eat and all you could drink. And so we flew to a vacation island for 5 days. And so I call that my vacation bound house. Now, not to spoil things, it was a real estate conference, and it was a taxable event that I wrote off as a tax expense. Is that why we do them? Okay, there's a lot of reasons. Here's another one. I'll fly through this real quick. Basically, I bought it for $29,000, sold it for $275, made $150,000 profit. Okay, we don't have all night. How long does that take? Okay. So here's one that I did in 2 months. The entire short sale was Zoom recorded, 22 hours over 2 months. Okay, I wanted a training video for my coaching students. Okay, 2 months, 22 hours of work. Okay, made $118,000 profit on that house. Okay, Now, I always like to give out freebies, okay? If you want the one important document, the single document you need to be able to do everything I've been talking about, text the word Advanta, okay, to my phone number, 636-685-2990. And I'll give you the one single document that allows you to do this entire process. Without this document, you will get nowhere, okay? And I will send it to you absolutely free, okay? People always like freebies, and so they say, come up with a freebie, Dave. Okay, well, that's a pretty important freebie right there with it and stuff. Now, how do we get them? Okay, let's get into marketing real quick. Where do we find them? Okay, so basically, we're going to basically do marketing. Okay, we're going to go where the trees are. Okay, we're going to go where the people are. Okay, all states, they have to post the legal description in the legal newspaper. So I teach everybody to use the legal newspaper for your county. I don't care where you live at in the United States, it has to be posted. I teach you to go there directly. Okay, the people that have a foreclosure date are the most motivated. Okay, and stuff like that. They're going to lose their house, very soon. They're willing to, do anything at this point. Okay, they've tried everything they can with the lender. Nothing's worked. That's why the foreclosure date has come about. They could have found a buyer. They would have already. You know how many letters? I mean, people get letters from these wholesaling companies, and they're not even selling their house. And they just mail out letters all over the place. It's like, crazy, $10,000 a month on marketing. That's not what I do. Okay, and so they would have sold the house if they could have. Okay, so everybody's goals are aligned together. Okay, you're going to give them time to live in the house. I'm going to fly through these slides. Once again, text Advanta to my phone number and get all these slides too. Okay, on there, it's in the footer there. You can see it on every slide. Text that because I got to fly through these and stuff. So basically, you're going to give them time in the house. You're going to satisfy the lender's requirements. Okay. And stuff, and the borrower is really ready to help because he's going to lose the home. You have a buyer for the house, okay? You cash as is. You're going to get them some money to move. The bank's going to get paid off, okay? Now, what are the steps here that we have? We don't have time to go through all of these, but you have to find the seller. You have to know what to mail to the seller. You have to know what to say to the seller to authorize you. You need to know what to say to the bank to stop the foreclosure. You need to know what to do with the bank to negotiate for maximum profit. A lot of people can make 30 grand, 20 grand easily, okay, but not the way I do short sales, okay? You need to get maximum profit and stuff. So where do we find them? Online access, okay, that legal newspaper, you're going to look for that online access. So for Missouri, this is just an example for Missouri, okay? Every place is different, every county is different. So you're going to go to the website that's for the county legal newspaper. That's what it's called. Ask your mayor, the mayor of your city, hey, Mr. Mayor, what is our county legal newspaper? Where do we post government contracts? Where do we post divorces? Where do you post foreclosures? That's what I teach you to go to. And for here in St. Louis, it's only $49 a month. They get a subscription to 4 or 5 counties, okay, and stuff like that. That's a picture here of the opening screen of how you go there. Then there's things you have to click on and do to get the names and addresses, and I don't have time for that. So once again, if you text Advanta to my number, I will send you a video with a live demonstration of how to use the website to navigate through it. Just don't have time. Like I said, it's got a long presentation that I cut down to 45 minutes, so I have to cut those things out. Okay, but go to the county legal newspaper. Now, what do you mail to them? We got them, we know their address, we know their name. What do we do? We're gonna mail to them. Now, look, I'm mailing to 50 people a month. This isn't wholesaling 101, wholesalerus101.com type stuff of $5 grand a month in marketing. I'm mailing to 50 people, okay, and stuff. And so we're going to do direct mail marketing. It's a very tried and true system, okay, that we have on here. And so we're going to do multiple letters. We can follow with a text and a voice phone call if we get no response from the letter. Okay, and so there's important things that you need to tell them on those letters to get them to call you. Okay, mail them a letter real quickly. Like I said, you can try to take pictures real fast, but just get the slides, guys. Okay, you want to tell them that you want to buy the house. Why do you want to do that? Look, hey, I bet you most of you are not realtors. Did you know if you tell someone that that somebody wants to buy their house, that you could potentially be acting as a unlicensed real estate agent, okay? You can't sell someone else's house. You can buy a house. So you want to tell them in a letter that I want to buy your house. You are now a principal in the deal, okay? A principal in the transaction. Then other letters need to talk about foreclosure, the options that they have. Call me to find out. Be sure to tell them no out-of-pocket fees, guys. Never ever charge any money to the homeowner. You're going to make your money by buying the house, fixing up, and selling it, okay? Let them know you can pay cash. Okay, see, that's their dilemma. People come in and they may offer a nice price for the house, but they need to get a loan. They don't have time for a loan. Tell them that the sooner they get a hold of you, the more options they have left, okay, and stuff. And so, here's Arnie here. He did one in marketing. He said, oh, I can't believe that people are going to do this just from letters. And so he wholesaled his very first one for $40,000 profit. Okay, and he goes, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many people are out there that were in trouble. Okay, and so he did 14 of these last year, all over $40,000, and just by mailing letters, reaching out to people that have a foreclosure date. You don't think of, it's like, you buy a red car and now you suddenly see red cars everywhere you drive. Well, your eyes are now open to short sales. County legal newspaper, mail them letters, and they'll call. Okay, what do you say to them? Okay, well, I had to cut this out, guys. I don't have time. We're just about out of time right now. Okay, so I had to cut that out. And so, if you want to, if you text Advanta, you'll get a presentation that has a reenactment of the script in there. But anyway, so I don't have time to do it here. But what do you say to them? So there's key things that you want to say to them. Talk about the credit hit. About the deficiency, that they're not going to get as much for the sales price and stuff. And so, so that's great. I've done this for 13 years. Okay, Dan and Carrie Goldstein, they wholesaled a house for $100,000 profit, okay, last year and stuff. And so they, you don't have to even rehab, guys. Okay, you can wholesale houses. Now, in your IRA, you need to keep something in mind, okay? We listen to people like Jeff Watson, John Heyer and Peter Fortunato and stuff like that. So when we wholesale a house, we use our IRA to buy the whole thing. Okay, so we take the $68,000 from our IRA and we buy that house, and then we resell it for $168,000. Okay, there's a lot of aspects to selling the contract, and since I'm not an attorney, I'm not going to talk about that. So for me, I buy the house with my IRA for the $68,000, and then I sell it for the profit and stuff. And so that, that is what the IRS allows, you to be able to do. So in summary, you can make a lot of money negotiating short sales. You're helping families out of crisis. That's still occurring today and was occurring in 2009 when I started. There's no other competition. Guys, there are no other buyers on the house, and the seller doesn't care what the price is. The seller doesn't care what the price is. Are you struggling in real estate? Are you struggling with a seller wanting too much for their house? In a short sale, the seller doesn't care. In a short sale, there are no other buyers allowed. And that's a deep statement, and I'm going to have to leave it at that and kind of move on because we're coming up at the noon hour or the whatever 1 hour mark. So keep in mind, 40 foreclosures a month in my county, 300 a month in St. Louis. Okay, how many do you need? I only mail to the 40 people. I don't do, mass mailing, so to speak. I don't have time for these specifics, guys. We have to wrap it up. If you text Advanta to my phone number, you can get the slides and you can get all the stuff that I had to, skip. It's wrong to do all these things on here. It's oh my gosh, it's wrong to offer mayo. It's wrong to look at how much they owe. I don't have time, guys. We have to end it. Just remember this: a foreclosure is a failed short sale. Okay, that slide actually won like best slide on the Addicts Cruise. They were going to come up with a prize for that, but they didn't have a prize. But people said, hey, that was the best slide of the whole Investor Addicts Cruise, that they did. It was a real estate cruise. Reneika should consider doing an Advanta cruise for everybody. But anyway, this was a rate cruise. Anyway, so a foreclosure is a failed short sale. You weren't there. So anyway, Reneika, that's the end here. This is my contact information. I love short sales. You've got a question about one, feel free to call me. Not many people do them. So when I find somebody that does them, I like to talk to you about them. So anyway, that's basically it, Reneika.
Perfect. Thank you so much, David. Great information. I do have some questions that came in. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so question is, how much interest do you charge for your hard money lending was one of the first questions.
I am not going to talk about that because it's on short sales. Text the word LEND, lend, to the same phone number, and I'll send you my 4-page document. I give you my SKU numbers, material suppliers, and it goes on, and we're not here to talk about that. Text LEND to my number, and you get a 4-page document.
Okay, thank you.
I charge a lot. I charge a lot, though. It's higher than anybody in the nation. Go ahead, Reneika.
Okay, next question is, why did it sell for so much if no work was needed? Did you have to wait 91 days on it for the first case study before wholetailing?
Yeah, so the whole 90-day deed restriction is on Fannie Mae loans. There's many other types like FHA, VA, Freddie Mac, USDA, and conventional loans. So the 90 days just a subset of what's called Fannie Mae loans on it. Why did it sell for so much with no work? Well, that is the power of the short sale method. There's a lot I can go into it. If you text Advanta, I'll send you a presentation that was much longer than this that tells exactly why that is, but it has to do with the word fiat currency, 15-to-1 ratios, banking side, and a bunch of other factors.
Okay, next question is, well, first is a comment. Yes, so this is recorded. It'll be up on our YouTube channel, later today or tomorrow, so you can definitely rewatch or re-listen. Our next question is, do you have any sales this year?
Oh yeah, my last 5 students this year each made over $100,000 profit on their very first short sale they ever did. The banks are dumping the houses right now, even more so than in the past because of that 2 million backlog of delinquent loans. They are begging you to turn an offer in. The bank is, they can't sell the home unless it becomes an REO property, unless they foreclose. They do not have the ability to foreclose, and that's a much longer statement. They don't have the ability to foreclose right now. So they're waiting for you to turn in that offer. They're dumping the houses.
Okay. Let's see. Let's question. Just bear with me 1 second.
Sure.
Question is, what if the lender rejects the offer? Do you resubmit?
Yes, dispute. Okay, you got this location, dispute. Always dispute with the bank. Look, you're not going to live in the house. You don't care when you're going to get it. Okay, so you dispute until you get the price as low as you possibly think that you can. Absolutely correct.
Okay. Just bear with me. Next question is, if the bank is getting an appraisal, how is there so much profit in what they will accept?
Because they do an appraisal that comes in at a low value, and you're able to do something to the house to transform it to a higher value. There's a lot more to that statement, but basically, the real quick summary is you don't want to do a short sale on a house that's in a subdivision where all the comps are $100 per square foot. You need to have a situation where there's low dollar per square foot comps and high dollar per square foot comps. And you're in essence buying it at the low dollar per square foot price, and then you're doing something to sell it at the high dollar per square foot price. And there's many other factors in there on how you have this low appraisal value, and we don't have time to go into that.
Okay. Any parting comments before I think that I have a few more questions, but I want to ask you, do you have any parting comments before we disconnect?
No, I just love to talk about short sales. You've got my phone number. Feel free to text me, I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm now teaching it. My students are making more money than me, which is really cool. As an educator, and I'm a rehabber. Look at my website, thedavidrandolph.com, for my houses I've rehabbed. I've got a Monday night investor session that's free in the beginning of the month, once a month on my lending. I love having relationships with other investors. That's how you get successful over the years. So that's I just want to say thank you, Reneika, for letting me come back and do this market update, from a year ago. We're still making a lot of money in short sales. You must incorporate IRAs into this system because you're making too much money, okay, and you have to do it a tiered system. So Reneika, I really appreciate Advanta being there for people to help them achieve that dream, financial freedom with real estate.
Absolutely. Thank you, for being our featured speaker. And if you have additional questions for David, you have his contact information. Feel free to reach out to him directly. Again, this recording is going to be posted on our YouTube channel later today or tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.